The internet thought they finally had the missing piece of the puzzle. A Grainy concert video appeared online showing a figure in the balcony who looked identical to Celeste Rivas, the 15-year-old girl found dead in David's abandoned Tesla. Fans believed this was it, the last proof that Celeste was alive, standing in the same venue as David, just days before her tragic end. But when the FBI stepped in, they didn't just shut down the rumor. They dropped a revelation that was darker, scarier, and more twisted than anyone could have predicted. Because if it wasn't Celeste in that footage, then who was she? And why did she look so much like her?
New video footage of a girl believed to be Celeste at David's concert in late August has surfaced, which would be the last date she was seen alive, but the internet is divided on the latest update about this footage. A girl who looks a lot like Celeste was spotted at David's concert on either the 23rd or the 24th of August in Silver Spring, Maryland. She was up on the balcony on the side of the stage watching on, and it's hard to deny that she resembles Celeste. She looks a lot like her. And
tonight we're breaking down everything, the timeline, the footage, the FBI's bombshell, and the chilling implications of David surrounding himself with Celeste lookalikes. Strap in, because this isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is a case that might expose one of the darkest psychological profiles the music industry has ever seen. The footage first appeared on social media just days after news of Celeste's death broke. It wasn't high quality, it wasn't professionally shot. It was a shaky fan video from David's concert on September 6th in Silver Spring, Maryland. At first glance, nothing looked unusual, but as people replayed it, zoomed in, and slowed it down, the internet noticed something chilling. There in the balcony was a teenage girl. Her hairstyle, identical to Celeste. Her posture, nearly the same as Celeste's missing person photos. Her clothes, a black tube top, the very same outfit Celeste's body was later found wearing. It wasn't just resemblance, it was almost identical. The clip spread like wildfire. TikTok edits, Reddit threads, and YouTube breakdowns filled timelines. People began calling it the last sighting, the final proof Celeste was alive in early September, long after investigators suggested she had already died. But what made it even scarier was David himself. In the middle of his performance, he looked up directly at the balcony, raised his hand, and made a half-heart gesture. It wasn't random, it wasn't generic, it was directed toward her.
in another video, we see David pointing at the girl on the balcony while he makes a half heart. The guy she's standing next to is also David's brother, which raises even more questions. And particularly, how much did he know about Celeste and David's relationship? Because if he's his brother and he's around backstage, going to concerts, hanging out with Celeste, he must know a lot about at least their relationship.
And right next to the girl, David's brother, caught on camera. Here's why this blew up. Authorities found Celeste's body in David's abandoned Tesla on September 18, 12 days after that concert. Her remains were severely decomposed, leading experts to believe she had been dead for weeks, maybe even months. But if that really was Celeste in the footage, then she was alive just 12 days before the discovery.
If that was her in the video, this raises the question of whether or not 12 days was enough time for her body to decompose to the state that it was in. Now, I'm no expert on this stuff, but I will say I was in LA during September during this time, and it was extremely hot. So the fact that she was in a trunk, closed up, wrapped in plastic in that heat, could potentially speed up the decomposition process, in my mind, but also according to ChatGPT.
That single fact would flip the case upside down. It would mean investigators got the timeline wrong. It would place Celeste directly in David's company days before her death, and it would make David the last person publicly seen with her alive. The implications were terrifying. This wasn't just a random sighting, it could have been the smoking gun. The internet turned into detectives overnight. Every frame of that video was dissected. Side-by-side comparisons flooded Twitter. Conspiracy theories erupted about David hiding her in plain sight. The theory grew so strong that even mainstream outlets began running with it. Headlines screamed, "Celeste spotted alive at David's concert." But the truth, as we soon learned, was far more disturbing. What made this video stick wasn't just the resemblance, it was the haunting details stacked on top of each other. First, the clothing. Celeste's body was discovered wearing a black tube top. In the video, the mystery girl was wearing the exact same piece of clothing. Coincidence? Maybe. But to fans and investigators, it felt like a direct connection. Second, David's gestures. On stage, in front of thousands of fans, he points directly at the girl. Then slowly he forms half of a heart with his hand. Not a random wave, not a generic symbol, but the same sign he'd been seen making in past streams when talking to someone close. Third, the brother. Standing right beside the girl, David's brother appeared calm, relaxed, like he knew her, which raised a terrifying question. If this really was Celeste, then David's own family knew about her. And here's the darkest part. If David's brother and family were present at shows, backstage, and traveling with him, then how much did they really know? Were they silent witnesses to a forbidden relationship or active participants in covering it up? These details made the footage almost impossible to dismiss. To the internet, it didn't just look like Celeste, it had to be her. But then came the science debate. Could Celeste's body have decomposed that quickly? Experts online argued both sides. Some claimed 12 days wasn't enough time for the level of decay reported. Others pointed out that her body was found in a car trunk, wrapped in plastic in extreme Los Angeles heat, a perfect environment to accelerate decomposition. This question became a battleground. True crime YouTubers brought in forensic experts, Reddit threads cited case studies, theories spiraled. Maybe the authorities misled the public, maybe Celeste was alive longer than anyone thought, or maybe David manipulated the timeline to create confusion. At this point, the case wasn't just a tragedy, it was a puzzle, and the world was desperate for answers. For weeks, the video dominated the internet. TikTok users enhanced the footage with filters. Twitter users compared facial structures pixel by pixel. YouTubers posted Celeste's last sighting, breakdowns that pulled millions of views. The girl's body language, her comfort at the concert, the way she leaned on the balcony rail, people said it all pointed to Celeste. But critics pushed back. Some noticed she looked older than 15. Others said her height didn't match Celeste's reported stats. And a few warned the internet might be fueling a dangerous misidentification. Still, the majority clung to the belief that this was Celeste. For Celeste's family, the video offered cruel hope. The idea that their daughter might have been alive days before the discovery gave them a glimpse of answers, only for it to be ripped away by what came next. Then, everything changed. The FBI stepped in, and their verdict was crystal clear. The girl in the concert footage was not Celeste Rivas. This wasn't speculation. This wasn't maybe. It was a definitive ruling from investigators with access to enhanced tools, facial recognition software, forensic video analysis, and direct case evidence. TMZ, which had initially fueled the rumor, updated their reporting with the FBI's findings. Their sources were connected directly to the case, and they stated without hesitation that girl was not Celeste.
And now TMZ, who posted and reported on these videos, has updated their article to say that the woman in the videos is not Celeste Rivas, according to a source that is connected to the case. So that could potentially be even a police officer that has already looked into this in their investigation. The fact that they very clearly made this update and blatantly said it is not her according to their source connected to the case makes it sound like they are absolutely sure. But what makes this even more eerie is that if it's not her, the fact that David was hanging out with a Celeste lookalike at a time that Celeste was probably already dead. This just makes my skin crawl. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section.
And just like that, the viral theory crumbled. But instead of bringing relief, the FBI's ruling raised even darker questions. Because if that wasn't Celeste, then why did she look so much like her? And why did David himself seem to acknowledge her with such intimacy? Here's where things get haunted. If David wasn't pointing at Celeste, he was pointing at someone who looked just like her. A lookalike. To psychologists, this isn't coincidence. It's a pattern. Predators have been known to surround themselves with substitutes or reminders of their victims. It's part of a psychological compulsion, a way of recreating control or feeding obsession. So the new theory emerged. Celeste was already dead and David was seeking out girls who looked like her. Was it guilt? Was it obsession? Or was it a taunt? His way of flaunting a secret only he knew. This revelation didn't make the case clearer. It made it darker. The FBI's involvement also signaled a much bigger scope. David wasn't just facing rumors, he was potentially facing federal charges. Crossing state lines with a minor federal crime. Possible trafficking, federal crime. Concealment, grooming, or premeditation are life-changing charges. The fact that the FBI was analyzing concert footage showed how seriously they were treating the case. This wasn't just gossip anymore. This was a potential federal indictment waiting to drop. For Celeste's family, the footage was a nightmare roller coaster. First hope, then devastation. The possibility of her being alive, standing in that balcony, was crushed by the FBI's confirmation, and now they were left with even darker implications that while their daughter was missing or dead, David might have been flaunting a lookalike. For a grieving family, the emotional whiplash was unbearable. But this isn't just about one concert clip. The FBI has uncovered a disturbing pattern. Evidence of grooming dating back to 2022, when Celeste was just 12. Fake IDs used to convince others she was 19. Deleted streams and wiped digital traces, and whispers of an associate named Gus linked to Celeste's abuse who turned up dead in 2024. This isn't one random case, it's a network, a pattern of calculated predatory behavior that's now under federal investigation. Even his music is under scrutiny. Romantic Homicide, his breakout hit, was uploaded on Celeste's birthday. Lyrics once brushed off as edgy now read like a confession. Themes of violence, possession, and control suddenly look like windows into his psyche. Fans who once sang along are now listening in horror, wondering if they missed the warning sign. So what does it all mean? The viral concert footage turned out to be a false lead, but instead of clearing David, it painted a darker picture, a man possibly surrounding himself with lookalikes of his victim. The FBI's involvement suggests federal crimes, trafficking, grooming, even murder across state lines. His career is in freefall, his brand deals are gone, and the world is waiting for charges that could put him away for life. But for Celeste's family, there's no closure, just more questions, more pain, and the horrifying reality that justice may still be far away. Because in the end, this isn't just about a celebrity. It's about the dangers of fame, the exploitation of the vulnerable, and the chilling truth that sometimes the darkest monsters are hiding in the spotlight.